Unfortunately, by the time I actually got the phone out, it mostly stopped, but look at all this crap. I wasn't originally going to shoot this video, just because it's not really worth shooting a video of until this happened. Look at that stuff. I don't know what you'd call that. It's bouncing. I don't know if you'd call that hail or what you'd call that, but anyway, this video is going to be really disappointing, especially to the folks who want more Macintosh videos. And I can't guarantee that they won't be coming, but this one certainly won't be in one, at least not totally. This is a Macintosh Powerbook 170. I won this in an auction on eBay, one of the rare times I actually place a bid on an auction. I usually don't like to do that because it's usually what ends up happening is you get sniped last minute and it makes you very angry. And in my current state, I don't really need that kind of external stimulus. It came with a bunch of floppies. I haven't even looked at those yet because I really don't even care about those. But you can see it came with the port door. And it was intact when it left. But obviously, as you can see, shipping was not very kind to this. And, you know, if this was the only thing that was wrong with it, this really wouldn't be worth turning into a sad story video, but you could probably guess that that's not what's the only thing that's wrong with it. Prepare yourselves for this, folks. This really makes me mad, to be perfectly honest with you. Look at that. Look at that. It's cracked all the way across. Wow. So why did this happen? Well, very simple. Very simple indeed. You want on my video, don't you? Get out of here. Anyway, you see that my temper definitely got the better of me last night with something. We won't talk about that. This is the box that it came in. Pretty reasonable looking. This is the packaging material that it came with. So there's nothing on the outside edges of this box, which is what happened. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. So the shipping agency put something on top of it, and, well, that was the end of that. What's more, I don't know if this is damage inflicted by shipping or if it was just like this before, but it will not power up at all. I've tried, not this power supply, because this power supply is also dead on arrival. So I'm going to deal with that too. But I tried another one that, at the very least, it puts out the proper voltage. See, what happens with these, I have two of them now that do the same thing, and funny enough, they're both Sony spec ones. But they start out with a really high voltage, like we're talking 11, 12 volts, and then they slowly just wind themselves down to basically nothing, like a capacitor discharging. And when you plug them into a computer, it doesn't power up the computer at all. But I tried one that was, at the very least, putting out the correct voltage all the time, and still didn't power up, so I'll have to verify that the other power supply works with my 180, but I suspect that it probably does, and that this thing is just comatose, dead. But I guess on the bright side, at the very least, there are probably some good parts here. I mean, it's mint. If one wanted to replace the display in this, they probably could do so very nicely. And I'm sure that the trackball is in decent shape. Keyboard is in really good shape too. I mean, it's practically perfect. So, it's too bad, really. Let's see if I can get this out. Usually I can, but it doesn't want to come out. Give me a minute. Okay, there we go. Get the battery out. I don't know. It probably is non-functional. But it came out of there cleanly as soon as I got the slide removed, so it's better than my existing battery, which is right here, which which, as you can see, is a little domed out there. And it's domed on the bottom, too. So, it's the same model battery. If that works, which I really doubt, that'd be a nice addition to the 180 at the very least. But still, I was kind of hoping for a system that either worked or could be easily fixed. Like maybe a hard drive or something like that. Experimental box for a SCSI 2 SD card or something. But, yes, there's that. I'm probably even more annoyed by this than I am by that, because, you know, these are not exactly cheap anymore. I suppose you can probably pop it open and replace the capacitors. I'm pretty sure that's all that's wrong with it. But there you go, there's your sad story Macintosh. You know, the thought just occurred to me. When my 180's battery failed, it caused the computer to not be able to power up. So I brought out the other power supply again, and we'll see what happens this time. I don't expect any difference. And indeed, there is no difference. But, so I guess that confirms that at least. It's not the battery holding it down. And then I've got my multimeter. This is what a healthy power supply should be doing. At least in theory. You get at least a, you know, around a 7.5 volt output. It's a little high, but it's unloaded, so that makes sense. So take that off. And we'll pull this out. And we'll get our other one. And I'll show you what it does. I'm not going to totally plug it in just yet. It'd be nice if it didn't do this. I don't understand why things... Oh, come on. Quit with your stupid... That's so annoying. Cables, cables, cables. I tell you what. So, let's see if we can do this with one hand. Probably not. But I mean, I've done it before. So, we'll see if we can just do that. Oh, it's already giving me something. Okay, it's not the power supply doing that. Oh, maybe it is. Okay, here we go. So you can see what it's doing. It's not normal. So, it'll just sit there until it whittles back down to 0. I guess what happened is there were capacitors that were still charged up, and that's why it did that. Okay, quick little update, at least. I have brought the power supply back in and can confirm that it works. There's nothing wrong with it. I tried to insert this battery, but I think you might be able to see, I didn't notice this before, but it has expanded a little bit, and it was difficult to try and get it in there, and I didn't want to put it in there and then risk getting it stuck. So, I don't really think it's really any good anyway. I don't know what the proper output voltage of something like this would be. Yeah, you can really see it there, that it's expanded, so... Do not show it the contacts. It doesn't really say on it what it should be, but I can't imagine it be far off of 7.5 volts, and I'm sure it reads nothing. So I'll give that a try. I'll let you know, or something like that. I also bought this, not today. This showed up a while ago. This is a little Asher Quadlinks trackball for Macintosh, because the onboard trackball on this thing is like it's gone now. Like, it doesn't even do anything at all. That's the other thing I'll probably do, is I'll take the trackball off of that 170 and put it into this. Certainly can't be any worse than this one is. But this is completely comatose. I don't know what's happened to this. I know that there's some brown glue inside it, and I think I'm going to probably have to try and clean that off. Might be a resistor or two that's bad, or a capacitor. But I'll have to figure that one out. Or I might just not care. It came with a cable. I bought this turbo mouse as well, and it did not come with a cable. But I have at least managed to confirm that my turbo mouse is working just fine. Perfectly. No issues whatsoever, so that's awesome. So even if I don't get the trackball on the machine fixed, at least I have an external mouse. And on another note, this also arrived today. I bought another keyboard and palm rest assembly for this Switch 110, even though it's really not worth investing money in at this point. And I'm actually surprised at how good a condition it's really in. It's basically brand new, even though it was marked as being used. The only thing that really shows any use at all is the sticker. That there's a clear sticker over top of this. I don't know why, but there is. But the keyboard actually works. I can find no issue with it. So it'll be nice to have this instead of having to deal with this stupid thing. You can see it's really busted. And despite my best efforts at keeping it good, really all of this damage here was one drop. That's it. So, that's pretty sad. So we got Powerbook-a-Palooza going on over here. This is the original patient. This is a Powerbook 170 that I've put together from parts of two. Right now it's awaiting a floppy drive and a hard drive, because the hard drive that's in it doesn't work, and neither does the floppy drive. So this is unrelated. This is something else I'll have to work on. It's a Powerbook 100, the original machine, but it will not power on. Alright, that's a little better. The first one here is a Powerbook 140. That, as you can see, there's your symptom. I don't know what this is all about. Probably RAM and hard drive. I don't know. But I'm hoping the floppy drive works. If that's the only thing that works in it, so be it. It has a port door on the back. Unfortunately, because you can't win, either the two tabs on the side break off or this tab breaks off. So it doesn't actually sit in place, which is really annoying. Whatever, I guess. Anyway, the reason why I point this out is because of this. As you can see, as you might be able to tell, this thing has got an aftermarket battery in it. And if we pull it out, you can see that while it has definitely started leaking, it hasn't leaked catastrophically. Unfortunately, I've got a lot of experience with these batteries, because I think it was, I don't know if it, no, it was the other one that I got. Maybe it was that one, because that's got all my good parts in it. Although it doesn't really matter. I think it's got the chassis from the other one anyway. But one of the two had one of these batteries in it that just exploded everywhere. And if you want to see what that looks like, look no further than this Powerbook 170 right here, which, as you might be able to guess, has got one of these batteries in it. And I don't even know if I can get it out, but you can see that it has definitely gone all over the place. So, yeah. Let's see if we can open this up very carefully. Okay, I took the screws out. Let's see what happens this time. There we go. Yeah, I don't really care about this battery. I'm not going to reuse it anyway. But you can see this is your locking mechanism. And these are your batteries. And it did exactly the same thing the other one did. They have all leaked all over the place and just made a huge mess out of everything. I'm guessing that's a thermal fuse. Something similar. I don't even feel really right about touching this stuff, but whatever. So that's going to go where it belongs. Anyway, I'm going to actually have to pull this laptop apart now, because I want to make sure that there's no serious damage. Like I plug it in and it blows a fuse or something, so. Yikes. Alright, so I got the bone and pan off, and that really wasn't too difficult. I guess the wildlife wants on my video. Anyway, wasn't too hard, but word to the wise, if you ever come into one of these and you find a screw that will not come out, you have a broken standoff, just like this one right here. Don't even bother trying to get the screw out, because it won't. I can tell you that right away. It's a real disappointment when you come into contact with it, but it is the single most common failure point on these. The other is apparently these aftermarket batteries. Look at this. Speaking of wildlife that wants on my video. Anyway, I don't know what that actually is. Look at the damage that this thing has caused. This is worse than the other one. I don't think that there is a hope in the world that this machine will ever work again. And here's why. You can see this doesn't look too bad, really. Although this keyboard being as damaged as it is, I really don't know what's lying underneath this. This could be destroyed. For all I know, this keyboard could be junk. This ribbon looks okay. So most of it looks reasonably decent. Come check this out. This is the lower pan, sitting right here. And first thing is first, I've never seen one this damaged before with this many broken standoffs. Everything. Actually all of the standoffs are broken. Except maybe this one in the corner. And it's hanging on by a thread. So, that's how many of these things? I don't even know how many standoffs are on this. There's at least 3 here. There's 2 there, so I think there's 4 in total. So there's 6 standoffs there that are just gone. No, I can't lose anything, so I think I'm going to just simply go ahead and plug this in and see if it actually happens to work. I think that would be a major miracle. Okay. I am very skeptical of this. Let's see if I can actually plug it in. Which, evidently, that's not happening. Let's see if we can actually get it plugged in first. Okay. There's no gross damage to the display. It could be separating. I can't even push that button. Okay. So I don't think that's going to work. Okay. So I basically gave up on this. I think I found the damage. Looks like there's quite a few. It might actually be that right there. C133. But there is damage all over the bottom half of this board. Yeah, this is worse than the other one. It's funny, not a single standoff in this entire lower pan. Okay, that's not true. That one's still there, that one's still there, and that one is still there. But everything else is just broken. So this whole lower pan is garbage. And, well, it would be anyway because it's covered in corrosion. I mean, look at this. I'll pull that off in a second, but this is useless. There is no way I can save this. In fact, it looks like the plastic, and that's not heat material. That's not like, you know, those sticky heatsink pads that they put on things. This is plastic. Like a piece of plastic actually fused itself to those tracers there. And look at, this is really sad to see. This is bent. Actually, that's my fault. Because the standoff had broken for the modem and I couldn't get it off, so I just cut it. But I was bending it around trying to get it off. But this is, yeah, that's destroyed. So this whole thing is junk. Just the motherboard. I think the daughter card, actually maybe not even the daughter card because there's damage on that too. I don't know if the RAM board, no, the RAM board's got damage on it as well, so that whole thing, with the possible exception of the display's probably fine, but everything else might just be a wash from the whole machine, and that's a shame, it really is. So what I did is I've gone over here to this machine, and I've taken the floppy drive and the hard drive out of that, and put it in this. Now, unfortunately, it's not this drive, but it's one of these. And you think, oh, it's not a Quantum Go drive, it must be a good drive. Well, these actually have an even worse reliability track record with me than the Quantum Go drives. I have seen a working Go drive. I have never seen a working 40 megabyte Connor drive. And I don't know what it is about these. They all have different problems. One of them does not respond on the SCSI bus. One of them has a very obvious mechanical problem, that it will click for a couple seconds and shut off, and it will do that forever because apparently the firmware is half-baked and never stops doing that. And another one, if I remember right, is stuck in a permanent seek test, or at least it seemed to be. I didn't fully test it because it's actually in this 140 that's underneath this. And since I don't have any video output on that, I can't actually really test it. But let's find out. Hopefully I plugged it in. Those bearings sound really bad. Okay, we're back with my Disc Tools disc. Well, actually, that's a new one because somebody lost my other one playing around with things. So we'll see what happens. Oh, I unplugged it. Alright, take two, plugged in this time. Now, the bearings don't sound very good in that drive, so I'm starting to really wonder about it. Nope. That floppy drive seems to work. Somewhat. I don't like the scraping noise it's making, but that's still better than the other one, which wouldn't read the disc at all. Okay, that is not a good sign. Nope. So the drive is non-functional. So it looks like I'm going to be trying a different drive. Well, screw taking this whole thing all apart again, because that's really time-consuming. I'm going to just take the lower pan off of the 140, which has the hard drive and a floppy drive, and I'll see what happens with it. Although if I remember right, this hard drive also doesn't work. It's stuck in a seek test, so I think this is going to end up exactly how I'm expecting it to, but I guess we'll find out. Yep. Oh. Huh. Yeah, I don't think it's working either. Yeah, it does not sound good. It didn't like that disc either. It's the same Disc Tools disc. So maybe that floppy drive is bad. Oh, I can't win. Frickin' sweet. I can't believe that worked. I cannot believe that worked. Okay, here's what I did. So I've got the lower pan off of the 140, which you know had that Connor drive that didn't work. And also, the floppy drive is bad, so I'm going to have to do something about that. Anyway, there's an error message that just popped up for some reason. I don't know what it was all about. But here's what I did. So, you might remember I had an IBM hard drive. It's actually right here. An IBM drive that failed because it's got some kind of mechanical issue. It was dropped. That's what happened to it. Well, it was in the machine, and the machine fell over, and the drive didn't survive. I took the controller card off of it, grabbed another one of the same drive, because I have a bunch of them lying around that don't spin up. And I switched the controller boards around. This is the control board off of the drive that was over there. And this, for whatever reason, the drive won't spin up. I'd imagine there's some kind of electronic problem. It's a common issue with those IBM drives. I can't believe that actually managed to get the drive working, though. That's amazing. Really, it is. Like, that's impressive. What version of the macOS is this? Powerbook 140, System 701. So that is exactly what I'm after. So I'll have to clean this up. It's only got 4 megabytes of memory. We'll figure out how much stuff is on this drive. 36 megs. Alright, well that's not too bad, really. I just can't believe that works. So now I'm going to have to get the floppy drive off of that 170, and I'm going to take the modem as well. And I can have a perfectly working PowerBook 170/140, I guess. It's got the 140 board and all that on it. Good enough for me. I've got a working machine. And that's exactly what I was after. So, I guess there you go. If you ever find one of these IBM drives that doesn't work, hang on to it. If it doesn't spin up. I've got a stack of probably about 3 or 4 of them. Because apparently they're common. These Connor drives, though, toss them. They don't work. Unless it does, in which case hang on to it and just keep a backup. Because it might not last for long. I've got 4 of them. 2 of them don't show up on the SCSI bus. One of them doesn't complete a seek test, and the other one, I mean, as you saw in the video, the other one has a mechanical problem where it will spin up. It'll click for about 5 seconds, and it'll spin down again. So, anyway, I think that's pretty much all for this right here. So I'm going to just go ahead and shut it down. Okay, so before I wrap this up, and of course you would do that. I don't understand why it does that. Anyway, I want to make sure that it actually still works. Let it boot, do its thing. See it loading everything. Yeah, you don't get a progress bar with 701. Anyway, sorry about that, just a little interruption. So you can see, yeah, there we go, 170. So that board must be dependent on the machine, so there you go. Everything is as it should be. Working just fine. So now I gotta put all the screws back in, and I do actually have a door for the 170 chassis. It's right here. Unfortunately, it is broken. This little thing here is missing, but I'd prefer that and have the tab over the other one, which doesn't have anything. So either way, let's just make sure that the floppy drive actually works, because it was working before. That seems to be working just fine. Doing exactly what it needs to do. Oh, I know what I want it to do. I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to put that battery in and see what happens. Because I don't want to put that battery in and have it short out and shut the system off or anything equally as irritating. You can see this display kind of does some weird things depending upon what shows up on it when it's shut down. So let's see what happens when I try and insert this, if I remember how it's done. I wonder if I didn't actually try and charge that. I don't think I'm going to leave it in there. Just because I know that those things blow up, and I don't want it to blow up. Something about Adobe Type Manager. There's a disk activity indicator in the corner there. So that's actually pretty neat. Battery. Claims to be full. I really don't think so. Because I'm sure that when I unplug it, it'll shut off, so I'm guessing that the battery is just no good. So anyway, that's going to do it for this video. So thank you for watching the exciting put-together of a Powerbook 170 out of parts from 4 different machines. No, seriously.